Hello folks, and welcome to my video about living with the Nintendo Switch and playing it in 2023. We'll go over what are some of the pitfalls of a Nintendo Switch in 2023 and some of the benefits of this system. This won't be a massively long video, but I'll do my best to cover the good and the bad of this rather cool little system. Okay, so a little bit of history. The Nintendo Switch came out in 2017 and was for a long time in very short supply. Some people would argue that this was an artificial lack of supply by Nintendo itself, but everyone I know wanted one, so perhaps it was a mixture of both. So I've got the original Switch here. It's not the light one and it's not the OLED one. Personally, I don't see the point of upgrading to OLED because although the screen's better, the rest of the hardware remains the same. So for me, it's not really worth the extra expenditure to get one of those. However, if this one broke yesterday, for example, I would probably go out and get one of them. So how much do I play this in comparison to my PS5, for example, and my gaming PC? Well, the short answer is, and I'm sure this will anger a lot of you, is not as much as I probably should. That's despite this having a lot of very cool games on it, really. We just got this one recently, Mario and Rabbids Sparks of Hope. That's very good fun. That one is a classic, the original Mario and Rabbids. I've got Doom 3 on here. You've got YouTube app, Luigi's Mansion 3. Got quite a silly game there, Deer Simulator. It's quite ridiculous. It's funny though, it's good. Mario Kart Deluxe 8. As you can see here, I have a lot of Nintendo games, and that's a bit of a theme with this system. So although games like Doom Eternal are on here, that's somewhat of a hard sell for me because I have a gaming PC and I tend to play it at, I don't know, about, with ray tracing, 155 sort of frames per second. So to play it at 30 FPS on here with downgraded graphics is a bit of a tough sell, especially when considering how expensive those games can be on this system. So as you can see here, I have quite a lot of Nintendo games on here, as well as some classic Sega games too. So I have a lot of games on here that I have on other systems as well. And part of the reason for that is that although they're not as good graphically or frame rate wise on here, I do kind of enjoy them on the Nintendo system. It doesn't have the best analog sticks on it, and the form factor can be a little bit difficult for longer gaming times. But overall, I think it's a great little system. Yeah, if you want the absolute best graphics on a handheld, probably go for like an Aya Neo or Steam Deck, something like that. But if you want something that's great for family games, great for Nintendo games, great for the kids and for youth play, because like I said, we've got the Mario Rabbids games on there, but we've also got things like Doom 3, Doom 2016 and Doom Eternal. We've got classics like Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic that are actually properly spaced for the screen, whereas a lot of times when you get the PC one, you have to do little modifications on it to make it fit the screen properly. You've got a good selection of games on here, really. So if you're looking for the absolute highest end in graphics, probably look elsewhere. But if you're looking for something that is handheld, good fun, and it's got a good selection of games. So for example, we have Doom 3 here. This runs on average at 60 FPS, with a couple of drops if you have the more advanced lighting effects turned on. Plays nicely though. So there's a little bit of dead zone on the analog sticks, which you'll need to adjust if you're used to playing it on like a PlayStation or Xbox, or even on the PC with a mouse. You'll need to adjust that. But overall, this is the full Doom experience, and it's pretty cool on here, I've got to say. I'll show you a couple of other games that I think perfectly accentuate what makes the Switch so much fun. So we've got the original Sonic the Hedgehog running on here now. This isn't like an emulation copy or anything like that. This is actually... Oops, I don't know what the start button is. So here we have the original Sonic the Hedgehog. Now, you might think, well, this game's like a million years old. What's the point? The point is the variety. And yeah, you can get this on your PC on emulation, or for a genuine copy, or you can play it on an old Mega Drive, or you can even play it on pretty much any console. But the fact of the matter is, it looks great on this screen, it runs natively and properly, and it's just great to think that a number of years ago. This was on a home system, and now it's just on a handheld. It's great fun, and it's some of the variety that makes it so good. There's a couple of the games that I've got on this system. I won't show you them all because, as you can see, I've got a ton of games on here. But you've got loads of brilliant Nintendo games. Some of my top favourites are things like Mario Kart 8 and Super Mario Odyssey. That is truly an amazing game, in all honesty. You've got your Pokemon games on here. You just got a brilliant selection of games. Now, are they going to run at the absolute best on this system versus on another system? Probably not, to be honest. But you get relatively decent battery life. You get games that just, for the most part, run and don't tend to crash all the time. You don't really have to do anything with them, they just work. You've got plenty of options for controllers. You now finally have the option of Bluetooth audio instead of having to plug it in the top here. You can use genuine cartridges instead of downloading everything. You can expand the storage with SD cards in there. Now, I'd highly recommend, if you're going to go that route, actually go with a proper branded SD card. Don't cheap out. Because they do fail, believe it or not. You wouldn't think they would, there's no moving parts, but they do fail. So what's it like to just buy games digitally for this then? Let's have a look at the store. So the store runs relatively well. There's a little bit of loading time, or what you'd call loading time, where it needs to download some content. That's one thing I would prefer that Nintendo would do, would be to actually pre-cache some of this content. They could do it in the background while your Switch is docked or whatever, and then when you would go on the store, you would have it already there. So that's an example of a really good deal, £5.24. Now, it's not going to be the best way to play that game, but you know, it's handheld. So there are some pretty good deals on here if you're happy to have them without the cartridge. I am a bit of a cartridge fan myself. I do like to have the cartridges, but sometimes if it's a particularly amazing deal, then I'm willing to sort of forego that. See, Doom Eternal there, £11.54. That's pretty cheap. Pretty cool to play it on a system of this size and whatnot. Yeah, there will be compromises, but that doesn't mean it's not a good way to play it still, if you're willing to understand those compromises. So as you can see, there's always a little bit of sort of where it needs to download the information. I wish it would do that in the background, but it unfortunately doesn't. But it's still a good way to browse, good way to find things on there. They sort of do deals and stuff, and put some of the Mario content all together so you can find it easily. Yeah, so pretty good store, even in 2023. Some consoles get really outdated after they've been out as long as this one has, but this doesn't seem to have happened with that. On the Nintendo Switch Online service, you get, for example, lots of free games. You don't, however, get Nintendo 64 games for free, or Game Boy Advance. You have to pay for what they call the expansion pack content, which is quite funny. If you've had a Nintendo 64, you'll know all about the expansion pack. So that's quite funny how they've done that, really. It's probably worth it if you really want to play those games. This is more of a distraction for me, a little bit of fun to play occasionally, but overall it's not a huge pull for me personally. But it's nice to be able to play online with other people. Let's have a brief talk about the controllers. These can suffer from stick drift, although Nintendo have done some updates on the controllers, and I don't know if they've increased the dead zone slightly, but that seems to have largely fixed the stick drift for me. Also, connectivity issues that were present in the past are no longer an issue. As you can see, I've got lots of stickers and whatnot on it. Now, these controllers are fairly expensive. However, when you consider you basically get two, if you put the little connectors on the top of them, they're more comfortable, then you basically get two controllers. So I don't think that's actually too bad. So in summary, what's it like to use one of these in 2023? Well, I've got to say, pretty good. Just like it was in 2017. If you're not expecting the absolute best in graphics and you're not expecting the absolute best in performance, this is a really decent little system. It's got lots of Nintendo little quirks to it, it's good fun, and there's talks of them bringing out a new one, but who knows when that's going to happen. So as long as you go in with the right expectations, this can be a really good, fun system to have and to use. So I would highly recommend getting one if you haven't already. It's a good addition to a PlayStation 5 because there's a lot of different games on here that you just won't get on the PlayStation 5, or maybe you won't even think to play on a console as expensive and advanced as that. For example, Sonic the Hedgehog. You might not play that on there. So that's my view on the Nintendo Switch in 2023. Still worth it, although if you can get one of these second hand, that's great, but I'd consider getting the OLED version. The screen is a lot better. So I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, please remember to leave a like, comment, subscribe, check out my Patreon, and thanks for watching. Have a great day.